Hi, everyone. We had to move some things around. We are so excited. I've got my people coming to my hometown, and I hope you are coming to join us too. We're getting ready for the meetup tomorrow. We've been moving things around, making beds, getting ready for everybody, meeting up with friends, and I'm just so excited to host our meetup here in Oklahoma City. There's information running across the bottom of the screen, and you guys can go to litecoinlisa.net to find more information on our events page. But really hope that you come out and join us. It's definitely a family-friendly event. It's at a restaurant that also has a bar, at the gun club, at the Wilshire Gun Club. And we hope to see you guys there. So Johnny's here. He's made it. We're probably going to have Westwood join us. And I think Nana's on the road, but she's close by. So hopefully they're all jumping in to join us soon. You guys give us a like and share this video. We'll be right back right after this. Hey, Johnny, happy Thursday. Good to see you.
Hey, Lisa, happy Thursday. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm running around like a crazy person.
Same with me. God, sorry we're late, guys.
No, it's good. It's good. It worked out because I'm like making beds, getting people ready.
You're not late.
Yo,
I had time to make another drink.
What's up, man? We were setting up POS equipment like at a pizzeria today, so it was it was quite a sometimes it goes easier than others. It's been quite an undertaking the last couple of days. This one, closer to me. I was
you always have to say that.
I was talking cryptos with everyone. I was leaving some crypto handouts at the pizzeria.
Oh, cool.
So I told the whole staff, I said, besides for learning about the register, I said, you guys are going to be able to learn about Bitcoin, Litecoin, and cryptocurrency. I said, so this is like a blessing in disguise. You could look at, and a lot of them were like interested. They're asking questions. They're like, we don't know about it. Like, so they're like excited. So it was a good dangler for me while they're struggling with the system. Like, I'm going to send you guys crypto when I'm done.
Well, so one of my Charlie went to a tanning place the other day, and they had a sign. I guess they got a new POS system, and it said they don't take, I think this is right, they don't take cash or checks anymore. They only take cards, and they take crypto. And so he was all excited, and he's talking to the girl, and he's like, okay, so can I pay you in Litecoin or Bitcoin, or what can I pay you? And she's like, I have no idea. So I think it's really important to educate the staff on that stuff. I think that's.
Yeah. This training the staff is key with anything that, if anything you do in an existing business, the staff has to know what they're doing. And that was one of the issues we had a few years back. Anybody could take crypto payments in any business right now in America or anywhere for that fact. But you just have to do a little bit of manually verifying. And the problem is, if you take the person at the business away from that computer or register program that they do everything in and they're used to and accustomed to, if you change it at all, it has to be repeatedly drilled into their practice. Like we always say, like you're practicing with the crypto wallets. If they're not practicing it, they're going to forget. And then in a real world scenario, someone comes in and says, can I pay with crypto or can I do this? They don't know how to do it. It's not just crypto payments, anything in a POS system that they're not used to doing is going to be foreign or awkward if you're not doing it all the time.
Every time you do. I would just think they would be getting some questions, even from people who aren't maybe using cryptocurrency, but walking up and then they see that sign and they're like, well, what is crypto? I would think that the staff are even probably getting some of those questions, kind of bumping into that with just the general public.
I'm more changing my angle a little too. I'm more or less talking about this more as a money instead of a payment form like I used to. So now it's more, let me set up the system. I'll wear a Bitcoin hat or a Litecoin t-shirt or a Litecoin hoodie, or hand out some Bitcoin handouts. And I'm talking about it as a money more to settle into for them.
Ah.
Like, people are going to pay with dollar. You should consider transferring some of your money, or thinking about, let me show you how to use wallets. People would want to transfer their value into Bitcoin. Here's why. The more confident people are with using it, the more they want to transfer out of the old system and into the new. So I'm kind of taking that angle more
I think that's really smart, and that's on trend with, that was one of the things Wes was like, what are we going to talk about? And I was like, I really want to understand more, and I want to talk more about, the recent statement by Putin where he's saying, like, you want to buy my oil? Fine. You're going to pay in my rubles for my oil. And it goes back to, when Bretton Woods, in the 40s was established, making the US dollar the world currency. And then since then the petrodollar became the world currency. And Putin has basically said, by, Joe Biden's own actions, by turning off the Keystone, not using American resources and choosing to buy Russian oil, whether you believe whatever you believe going on over there or not, the reality is we buy their oil.
Sure.
And then, so Putin says, you want to play my game? Then you play with my cards, right? The monopoly thing that you always talk about.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Or the poker thing.
The poker chips, casino. He's like, I own the casino. I've got all the resources. I got all the tables and all the cards here. You want to play? Well, you're going to have to cash into my chips. And that's what he's doing. He's basically inverting the petrodollar system and saying, guess what? Take those dollars, take those euros, and turn them into rubles, and then you can buy our oil. That's a big deal.
His hand was kind of, I guess, forced to do that because of the sanctions. So it's kind of like if they cannot use the dollar system anymore either, they have to seek an alternative. So in this case, he's saying, hey, you have to use my rubles in order to
but his rubles are now backed by gold, right? So
they're backed by oil at this point. In natural gas. I mean, they're backed
they're not. Resources. I don't think there hasn't been an official backing by gold of any fiat currency yet. It's still.
I mean,
they could be that he was. Maybe it didn't go through, but I.
Well, you can actually use oil and natural gas, so I'd rather have it backed by those, and that's what he's doing. You know what I mean? Even if he did back it by gold.
Which this kind of goes back to, do you see each country? I'm curious what you guys both think about this. Do you see, like, in the future, as the dollar dies, is it that countries will say, well, then what do we have? Our dollar's dead. What do we have? Do we go to, like, a basket of our resources? And I think about when Mom May was telling us about how her friend was cataloging resources of the Amazon for Brazil. And they were putting it on a blockchain. That's how they were storing it or cataloging it. And I was like, that's creating value and logging it in a blockchain. Wouldn't that be like tokenizing your country's assets?
It's verifying the assets. And you look at the assets, how many times have we heard the cure for cancer, the cure for everything's in the Amazon rainforest? I mean, all of the raw materials, the source material that they have there. I mean, I think that's where you're at, because we've had an artificial backing of currencies and money, quote, money worldwide for a long time, because it's been manipulated. The petrodollar was only backed by the U.S. military. Well, I don't think that's going to happen anymore. And so I think you are getting to that point where what is real value? What value do you have? And the whole thing unwinds, and it goes back to what resources does this country have? So you go to Africa, which has been exploited, and look at the resources they have. I mean, you can create a cryptocurrency of choice if they wanted to, and say, hey, this is our our national currency. And guess what? If you want to buy our resources, you got to use it.
My problem with backing any currency with anything other than Bitcoin is I feel like Bitcoin should be the only thing that backs currencies in the future, because anything else, how do you validate it? Oh, it's backed by oil. Where's the oil? Or it's backed by gold. Where's the gold? How do I know the gold's? Is it transferring around? Is it not? So that brings us back to the system of trust. So that I want to move into, like, I feel like we need to move into a system, the trustless system. I don't want to trust anybody anymore. I want it to be trustless. Don't trust, verify.
Well, so Phil C is saying that the article said, which I'm guessing he means the article I posted in Patreon that I thought I read through pretty well, but I guess I missed this biggest part of it. Said that Russia will take oil and gas payments in Bitcoin. So I guess that article did mention that as well.
As well as rubles?
I don't know.
Oh, we need to go to the source.
I have to go back and reread the article.
But I mean, I mean, if it's taken in Bitcoin, it's taken in Litecoin, it's taken in any, sound cryptocurrency that's a real money cryptocurrency like those two, and those are the biggest, then, I mean, there's no, like you said, Johnny, there's no verifying it. You don't have to verify it. It's like, okay, now I have that asset. And I agree. I wouldn't back any natural resources with, you don't need to, with cryptocurrency. It's the form of money that you are willing to take for it. In my mind, it's not a backing necessarily, but it's you can choose. If you've got the natural resources, you can say, hey, I'll take this. And it could be a national cryptocurrency. And this is what you have to use if you want to play ball. I mean, you can go down that road too. Sure. Most people are going to want Bitcoin, obviously, I would think. But you never know. They can demand whatever they want. It's theirs. It's like hey, I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. It's like, well, okay, I guess the game's over. If the ball's not there and he owns the ball, take your oil, fine. You're not getting any. Yeah. That's where we're at, though. There's no artificial.
Well, I was watching, I'm doing the Very Dow YouTube channel with Litecoin Lisa. We're both co-hosts on that. And so I'm having a lot of education and learning a lot from watching old Reggie videos and listening to lots of stuff. And when we did an interview with him, and the premiere, the full length video of it comes out this Saturday. And he was talking about that he did the first swaps on Bitcoin using Bitcoin. And that's where, like, before I was like, well, we don't need just Bitcoin. We need all these other things because of those kind of issues. But he was able to write a smart contract and do a swap using Bitcoin. And so I was like, okay, so maybe we can do things on that network and do that exchange of value. But we're going to need, now there's those patents involved. So, okay, yeah, it can be in Bitcoin, but you still need to honor the IP of swapping something, because
the action
of exchanging value using those things.
I'm curious how that plays out with the patents and what's going to be enforceable and what's not. I feel like his patents are going to be, or the very patents are going to be mostly enforceable over like more the banks, and what they try to do is what I don't know. I just see that might be, I don't know. I'm curious to see how it plays.
I know his heart
my intuition.
Yeah. Well, maybe, I mean, that makes sense. Also, that goes along with his heart. I mean, his heart is for crypto, and he wants crypto to succeed because his goal is, and I'm not trying to speak for Reggie. These are what I interpret from my hours of listening to conversations that he's had, and going through old videos and stuff, trying to learn more about him and the project. But it's my understanding that it's very important to him that it's an even playing field. He made this statement one time, and I'm the worst quoter ever, so I'm sure I'll destroy this, but something about like the woman in Africa, selling her beads or bowl or whatever, should have the same opportunity or playing field as the guy on Wall Street pushing his business. And it was like, and that's that free markets, I think, that Bix sings about. And I think that's where Reggie's heart is like, it's been manipulated for so long. And so because of the time that he got in and him understanding and seeing, really not being so, he couldn't have cared less about, number go up or whatever. He saw this real use case of cryptocurrency, of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And so then he was like, okay, how do we do good with this? And that's where he's very passionate about it. And people misunderstand that sometimes, but it's been really interesting, like getting to know him more and doing these interviews and seeing his heart for humanity, not just crypto, but humanity in general. Like, it's been really
He's a
cool.
great guy to listen to and watch anything that he's on. I always enjoy watching Reggie, and I'm cheering him on. Yeah. And like I said, I definitely see this stuff being very enforceable against the banks. So what I see is when the banks want to roll out their DeFi platform or whatever, he's going to say, no problem, but you got to pay the piper, as they say. And he's the guy that they're going to have to pay.
I think
So I definitely am. Like I said, I'm curious to see how it rolls out. But yeah, I like the because on its face, the promise of crypto was bringing banking the unbanked, bringing that bringing financial inclusivity to the whole world. Like the lady that's in sub-Saharan Africa should be able to trade any asset just the same as Mr. Big Shot is on Wall Street. Now, obviously, Mr. Big Shot might have more money to throw around. We get that, but they should be able to utilize the same system and have the same set of rules. It shouldn't be, hey, Mr. Big Shot, you get certain rules, and hey, lady over here, you have other rules to play. That's not fair. And that's not a level playing field is what, to me, the main promise of crypto is. And it, but with that, it definitely involves you as the user have to take responsibility as well. So we always tout it's a great way to protect your wealth. Censorship resistant money, censorship resistant payments, all this stuff. Hold your own private keys. But with that said, you have to make sure you do everything right and you know what you're doing as well. So it does take that personal responsibility. Be like just like owning a firearm. You want to make sure you'd have the proper training so you know how to handle it. You know what I mean? You wouldn't say, I own all these firearms and I never use that. I'm not, it's not.
That puts you, as the example, that puts you, not only the person that you're trying to protect yourself from, but it puts you in danger.
Right.
So that's a perfect example. Like if you don't apply that same thing to that situation, it puts you in danger. Westwood, so I think Phil C put a link in the description for that article that Russia Energy Committee Chair accepts Bitcoin.
Yes, thanks, Phil C. Decrypt.co is the source on this one. It may be in other places, but just to highlight it, according to the translated transcript from the chairman of the Russia's State Duma Committee on Energy, it was a videotaped conference. He said that the West would either need to pay for oil using rubles or gold, while allies or neutral countries such as China and Turkey can settle in rubles or their native currencies. He then added, you can also trade Bitcoins.
You as in only the
allies.
Only the allies.
So any enemies that are trying to take them out of SWIFT and, sanction them are going to have to pay in rubles or gold, which I totally understand. It's their energy, and they're going to say, okay, fine. If you're going to kick us out of your casino, this is how we're going to play ball. And
so he's demanding rubles and gold from allies that want to buy his, and then he'll get Bitcoin from, who will he get Bitcoin from?
No, he's saying that the West, so basically Europe, America, would need to pay for oil using rubles or gold.
Yeah. And then
countries that are familiar with
allies such as China and Turkey can settle in rubles or their own native countries like the yuan or the Turkish lira.
Who can pay in Bitcoin?
Only his allies.
The allies, not the West.
Gotcha. So just gotcha.
It's basically punishing the West, saying, okay, if you're going to do this to us, then you're going to pay us in gold, which you don't have, or rubles. So you're going to take your money and exchange it into our currency.
Yeah.
Pegging their currency to the,
it's like a way to try to strengthen. Well, it's a way to create demand for their currency.
Correct. Just like the petrodollar did. Yep.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see how this all plays out. Here's the thing we don't know. Timing. We all say we know what's going to happen. We do, but we don't know timing. And psychics have an awful hard time with timing as well. It's very hard for them to pick. They can tell you a lot of accurate stuff, but if people say, I want a date, it's going to happen. Well, it's not how it works. So I think with this, what I'm curious is the time frame of this. How long does this take to play out? Now, I had originally made a prediction. I think it was in the fall, Lisa. I said by 2023, we were going to be in full-blown hyperinflation. So
I think we're there.
We're close. We're getting there.
No, when did you go to the grocery store?
Well, I know.
Right.
The booze hasn't gone up a whole lot, so I haven't noticed.
I can tell you, we just drove and they charged us $1,000.
I heard the story Charlie was telling me outside. It was
$1,000.
ridiculous.
Remember when you used to rent a car for $29?
When I went to Blanco, Texas, they
day.
upgraded me to a van, and I had it for over a week, and it was like $400. It was something stupid.
No.
Maybe
So
less than that.
it was over $1,000 to rent a car because we got with the storms and all that. They were like, no, you can't get out until we're trying to leave and get home Monday.
It's because you're on the no car list.
Yeah, we're also on the no car list. So we get a shoebox to drive home in, and then
whoa, come on. You see what's in the driveway.
I would have driven the Digibug over this thing.
Really? That
any
bad?
day of the any day of the
All
week.
Right. Digibug made it from Illinois to Oklahoma.
I would have felt safer in the Digibug. But my point is, and then
only if I was in it.
We had to fill up every, however many miles. And it was like every time I was like, oh God. Looking at the oil or the gas price.
Yeah.
I mean, is insane. And then we're like, okay, that's the last time we have to fill up. And then Charlie's like, nope, so many miles, and we have to fill it up before we return it. And I was like,
and our gas is actually cheap compared to Europe still. They pay for natural gas 8 times what we pay here.
Yeah, they get ripped.
They pay 8 times per whatever when you factor out. They buy it in, I guess, liter over there. We're buying it by the gallon.
Liters.
But so true hyperinflation is marked as price increases of 50% or more month in and month out. I believe that's like a true.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's a true hyperinflation.
Okay.
That's kind of what I was predicting we would hit by 2023, where it's full blown. But
the year's not over yet, Johnny.
I could see it being just more of a, like what we're seeing, more of a slow drip, like of major inflation, and they keep trying to mask it, hide it. They manipulate a lot of things too with the news cycles. They bring down asset prices just by sending out the Fed chair to speak, and that raises or that has a direct, immediate impact on crypto markets, stock markets, precious metals markets. So
for the people who believe in that casino, it does.
Right, but it manipulates the prices that are the spot prices, whether we believe it or not. It does manipulate the spot prices. So it's kind of like, and Lisa, you actually were having this argument with Bix. I was watching you guys, maybe it was last week, and you were kind of saying how, well, people still, because the banks are still there, they are coming up with a plan. You were talking about that blockchain supposedly that they're releasing, but either way, I don't know about that. that, but they are coming up with some type of plan. They're coming
I
up with some.
promise you. No, I
Of
have
course they
friends
are.
involved
They are.
in banking that say it's called the DLT, the digital ledger technology, or something like that. And they call it quantum financial system. And I mean, the words are there. I don't think it's a benevolent thing. I think it's something the banksters are using, but it's there and it's their plan. I'm not saying that we're going to use it, but it's also the whole thing. So we had this, and leader will be over here later. We're going to have a little powwow. But we were
We might go live on Patreon. It'll be like an after hours.
Lisa,
Yeah, we can do that.
But what's been fact is they are rolling out that thing. This has been in the plans for years. It's called Fed Now.
Yes.
In 2023, it's going to be instant settlement of payments, or at least much faster settlement. I think instantaneous. So I would think with that, they're going to go to some type of blockchain technology. So you might be, I don't know what it's called, but I would just speculate. What else are they going to go to? How are they going to do it if it's not blockchain technology and they want instant settlement of these payments? What else is there? They can't do it on their own thing. It doesn't work.
Well, and that's where,
XRP?
I'll save that conversation once again for Patreon because it gets a little dicey and has a lot of opinion in it. But
what's in your wallet?
Yeah. Also, you have to have the conversation about what is a tool and what's a weapon.
Right.
And,
so that could be.
When does that label change? So.
And that, Lisa, that can go either way, that update and change, because I can see that as a payments guy as a big advantage. I'm like, oh, wow, that's a big advantage now. If you have instant settlement and it's a lot better for the consumers and stuff and just a lot better for the whole system to function. Then I could also see it as a bad thing of a tool of more manipulation on their end. And that's the fear of we don't want our children and grandchildren to use money with a social credit score attached to it. And is the money going to have a Chinese style credit score attached to it? And
or an expiration date. You know, China did that with their digital yuan.
All of the above.
Oh yeah, and that's when that's the whole idea of programmable money, and that's why I kind of, when I first got into crypto, I say it's a currency, it's a payment network, it's programmable money. I was like, ooh, isn't this cool? And then I was like, you know what? That feature is good and bad. And that's not a feature that I want to be like bragging about it, because I can see that as a tool really for the bad, the programmable money part of it. And where it's the currency and payment network part, I only see as benevolent. Because a currency, it's a currency that's created from earth, from natural resources. Bitcoin's a true commodity-based money, right? A payment network of pure benevolence, because it's the users actually doing it peer-to-peer. They run the software, no third party clears it. So I always say, well, the currency, that's why the currency and payment network part is very benevolent. But this programmable money part, yeah, you're right, Lisa. They put money in with that has an expiration date. Now that's a tool or a weapon to be used again. Now that's not money. It's a voucher. It's a voucher at that point in time. It's
Coles Cash.
Correct. And you nailed it. It's Coles Cash. That's exactly what it is. If you know what Coles Cash is, that's exactly what it is. You know, my wife, she says, I got Coles Cash I got to spend.
I have to hurry and go shop.
Do you do that too?
To save money? No, I don't.
Okay. You don't get
Coles Cash, right? And they want to do that to, on their end, increase the velocity of money. You got to realize they had, like, you know, before COVID, coincidentally, they had the incentive, them, to slow down the velocity of money. Velocity of money meaning how fast does money move through the system? And they needed to do that because if they created a lot of money and they had the same velocity of money, we would have went right into hyperinflation.
Yep.
So they needed to do that. And that's why, and that's the whole X factor in a lot of this, is that if they could really play with the velocity of money and all that, then things that we say, well, that's going to cause hyperinflation, that's going to make us go right into that. They're like, oh, yeah, well, we have this new trick that you guys don't even know about yet. That's not even invented. We're going to put an expiration date on the money, or we'll do this, or we'll do that, or we'll make it so it can only be used in certain sectors we want it to be used on, and we'll give these people interest because we like them better. We like how they vote better. We like their posts better. Clint Westwood, we're going to give you negative interest because
right, because your attitude.
Damn land out there.
You can leave them anywhere, but
you're on so much land, and we got to give you negative interest because you have all that land out there.
That's exactly. It's your son.
It's Johnny.
Look,
Her
look,
favorite
who's this?
son.
Hi, Nana.
Hey, I brought some cantaloupe.
We got
nice, very nice. Good to see you, Nana.
Put those down and come join us.
Yeah, get up here.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Find a spot.
in a second.
Okay. Yeah.
When
we'll
you're
give
ready.
about 30 minutes, 20 minutes. You're
Choose
good.
your path.
It's about freedom, Nana.
It's a good show just to have these random rants and stuff. It's like a powwow. Greg K just said. Greg K is a dear friend of mine.
Yes, I know Greg.
Yeah, we know Greg. We all know Greg K.
Yeah.
Speaking of which,
Greg K is actually he's in phenomenal shape. And age to him is just a number. He always says it's all about how you feel. Forget the whatever you are in paper. So I kind of take that. That's a lesson I learned from Greg K. And he taught me a lot of good health stuff in general. So just kind of a general shout out to Greg. And he also coincidentally is one of the people that introduced me to Litecoin. He actually showed me my first Litecoin transaction. So he was the one that showed me that $1,000 payment that was sent across the country. And
Oh, really?
And that's when you knew it was over.
Off in my mind. But Greg K says, I have no confidence that the government will launch this new digital currency successfully. They will screw it up.
I agree.
Yeah, Greg is right at that. The chances of them getting this right.
Launching and planning or
enacting, successfully rolling out,
implementing. Like there is something already implemented. It's not maybe active or not, but it's in the works. It's already there. I can tell you.
It's called Litecoin. It's not money for the digital age.
It is because put it this way, they wouldn't be planning that Fed now if they weren't planning on making
they have all the pieces in place
and they're not
their plan.
Yeah, they're not going to do a big structural change like that overnight. It's going to be years in the making to do it. So it's they won't get it right. There's a lot of learning curve that's going to be a big problem. Now, what you're going to see when they release any type of digital currency, you're always going to see paper notes. The paper notes in the future are going to be notes that you rip up and throw away when you get them. They're going to have QR codes on them, and the clerk is going to scan it and then put it in a file or throw it in the garbage, or they're not going to be notes that are tradable around the system anymore. Because what they're going to have to do, they're always going to have to give people cash that want cash. They're going to say, well, it's just like paper wallets with Litecoin or Bitcoin. Same idea. You'll get a paper wallet version of a digital currency. And now you can go spend it wherever, just like
gift cards,
just like a gift card kind of thing. And they'll scan the code on there, and maybe they'll even give it to you in a credit card form, and maybe they'll link it up with Visa.
Yeah, that's what the government does right now for EBT or any of those government spending. It's through a credit card that you can either put and link to your bank account, but you can also just have it on that credit card and use it like a little ATM card.
But they would probably, to still give the cash experience to people, they would probably, I'd almost guarantee these people could go to their bank and get these paper notes that have their cryptographic paper notes. Mm-hmm. And when when they pay with that at the store would scan the private key on that or whatever technology
That
they
would be a
use.
terrible thing if those get like thrown away wrong or whatever, and you think you found or somebody gave you a gift card, but there's no balance on it.
Same
You go
idea now.
shop.
If you get it, same idea now. If you find a gift card or find something that same kind of idea. And the whole idea for the business in their system, they'd be able to validate it because once they'd scan that note, it would say paid.
I guess they'd have to go to the blockchain the same way
And
that now.
And the businesses would love it because what they probably would do to make it so the businesses got on board with this more, they would say, you're going to get these new type of paper notes and it's going to be an advantage for you because there's no more change. Someone pays you with a $50 cryptographic note of the Fed coin or whatever money it is, whatever they call it at the time, and they have $12.39 change. You're going to give them store credit, and that's how it's going to work. And I could see that being at least an option to get the business. Because then if I was a business, I'd say, well, this is great. I want all of these new notes now because there's no more change. And now it's like I'm taking in more money, and now the people have to come back as a customer. You're kind of locking them in as a customer as the business. So I could see different ways psychologically they could try to roll it out on us to kind of mentally play
that gift card thing, though. It's the Kohl's Cash. They've been studying Kohl's Cash. That's why Kohl's has just been a big psyop for the last however many years, and it works. Yeah, that's wild.
How many stores have? We were talking last week about stores that when I was a kid, or when even people older than me were kids, that big box stores that were there that aren't there in certain towns. Like what's still there, and it's like. We used to remember like Caldor and Bradley's and all these places. And now it's like Kohl's or Best Buy. And it's like back in the day, it was like they were,
family name or something. It was a local something back in the day. But now
it's just how places they come and go. It's just kind of like, nostalgic. Like I remember like a lot of these old Sears. I mean, they were like, that was such a big deal back in the day when a Sears was in your town.
Push the chair. Yes, Mom, just in cue Nana. So do you remember growing up, what were the stores that you shopped in growing up?
Woolworths, 5 and Dime.
Yeah, Woolworth, TG&Y. When we were kids when I was a kid in Lake Havasu, we went to TG&Y.
They didn't have one there.
Yes, they did.
No, that was when you were 19 and went back and worked that summer, whatever.
Well,
Kmart. Well, first
Kmart.
Yeah, and that was like a big deal.
Kmart sucks.
Yeah.
Woolworth though, that was like an American like staple. Woolworth. That was, if I still go to a town near me, people always say, oh yeah, it's near the old Woolworth building or whatever. And I had baseball cards with that name, big box name on it, and it's just, it's interesting. Like I was saying, in the Northeast, like a Sears was like a big deal. Like, I guess like that was,
well,
Sears in your town, that was like, whoa.
When I was a kid, of course, people were still writing letters, and we could go to Woolworths and get a little pack of stationery notes, cards, for like, I don't know, 15 cents or a quarter or something,
We used to get notes.
You could pay. You could buy. Nothing's going to make me look better. Honey.
No, they were saying that Westwood looked. He just.
I'm dark. I look like I'm in the witness protection program again today.
Give him a freaking break. Yeah.
When I was in middle school, I used to get notes from girls, and they'd pass.
Imagine that.
Like, they're like, and like. I remember some of these notes were like pages long, and it was like nowadays everything's a text for kids. Yeah. So that's like,
and just a picture.
And letters, IRL,
Yeah. Well, I was talking with one of the moms the other day, and I was like, well, it was when we were shopping in Greenwood, and the mom was there, and she's a nurse, I think she's retired now.
Yeah, she might be. I'm not sure.
I can't remember, but one of her
Cardiac
daughters
ICU nurse,
runs this
yeah.
little clothing shop, and so we try to support local businesses. So when I come see Mom, we run over there and see what they have. Westwood, you look amazing,
Well,
darling.
everybody's dogging me because
I
they said
know.
I look hungover. Looks like I got a mug
Okay,
shot.
I told them.
Tell them what
you
happened.
He's
look
been up
grossly
since
healthy.
2 a.m. and I have shitty lighting. We're out here in another room, so everybody give Westwood.
I'm trying to give all those excuses. You know, they're used to seeing me outside in the digibug and the perfect lighting, and in my element.
I apologize.
And I'm out of my element.
Crappy lighting, and he's been up since 2 a.m. and drove 10 hours. So give the man a break.
I think I just drove 10 hours.
You're a
Right?
trooper,
How beautiful she
I
looks.
did. I started at 7 this
you
morning.
only
I got
drove
some
3
gin in there.
hours.
No, I got in the car at 12:30, and it's what time now?
It's
Of course, I got.
past 12:30.
I think I went too far left on one of those little circle exit thingies
Oh,
around, where I-35, that one for, and I think I had because then they took me onto little roads and I had to get back on.
I took some back.
So that
roads
probably
in there.
added a little.
Man,
Then
I
I
had
had
an
to
extra
I had to
adventure.
stop twice to drug Angel because she started yipping.
Oh my!
So I only gave her like a quarter of the dose of trazodone that Otis
Yes.
would have gotten. So because she's tiny, she is zonked. So
I told Anna
We should
we
give her
have a
some
good
quinine because you're gonna get some
Hashtag
quinine.
bet on Main Street. Lisa summarized before.
Hashtag bet on Main Street. Yeah, that's where I was trying to go before the
Oh, I'm
great
sorry.
distraction.
Nancy's making me blush in the chat. Thank you, Nancy. Very, very kind of you.
Nancy says you're a very handsome man.
Thank you, Nancy.
Nan says you're very
Who,
handsome.
me?
Yes.
Talking to me? Well, I'm
Yeah,
not used to hearing that.
you.
Thank you.
Oh, now it's gone to his head.
Anyway, so what we were talking about, Johnny, was yes, and ABC. I have to go back to what we were talking about. So you were talking about smaller letters, and then and we were having this conversation about how these young girls are now taking pictures of themselves all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. At my age, I'll be 50 this year for my birthday, and
Lies.
it is true.
It's,
I'm not
you were talking
65.
about. Listen, you were talking about Greg earlier, and age is just a number. It's the same with Lisa. She lies to you. You're 64, and don't say you're 65. She's 64. I mean, look how beautiful she is. Age is just a number.
Wash your mouth out. That'd make me 80.
I'm gonna go
90.
And look how beautiful you are. See, it's
poke
just
a hole in his
it's
blow-up
all.
mattress, and he's gonna
The
say,
thing is, I'm 22. Look how horrible I look.
So
Remember pictures from back in the day before there was all these digital pictures? Then if you look at a photo from the 70s, it's aged, it's faded. You could tell a 70s picture, an 80s photograph, the Polaroids back in the day. So now it's that won't be a
girls
thing
didn't go.
anymore.
And
we
this.
would never have taken that.
Because not
Never.
people weren't walking around with a high-powered computer and everything in it.
That's
Everybody
true.
at all times. I always say, I'm happy when I was drinking a lot. There wasn't all these cameras and stuff around to see some of the crazy Johnny Litecoin days. Might have got a few of my fights on camera.
No,
Exactly.
no, for sure.
The struggle is real going to these meetups.
Yes, I'm grateful. There was not social media when I was in college.
Thank God.
For
We
sure.
grew up in a better. I feel like we grew up in a better age, but it's again, social media.
I think every age always thinks that.
But again, I embrace
different-
social media for what it is. It can't take over your life, but at the same point in time, we've met each other all through social media.
That's right.
Without social media, we wouldn't have all came together. So it's kind of like
the gun. It's a tool.
It's a tool. It's a weapon.
It goes
And
back
it's
to the
either,
Bitcoin. Was Bitcoin really invented by
Who cares?
a 3-letter agency for evil? But then is it really something that humanity has said we're choosing to use it for good?
Yeah.
Maybe it was invented by
when does a tool become a weapon?
maybe they invented it for a benevolent reason, the three-letter agency. We don't know.
We don't know.
No, maybe it was people that broke off of that agency as a side thing. I don't know. I always like to play that. That's a fun game. Take your best guess at who is Satoshi and spin the wheel. You go. Let's take your best.
Well, and then you have to think that 5D chess, because whoever you think it is, it's not for the reason that you think it is.
Well, it's
Right.
like, Greenspan did his PhD or whatever dissertation on gold. He's a big gold man originally.
Yeah.
And then
big
he
time.
goes into the fiat crooked system and does all this stuff that would, lead it to collapse. So why? So that we can get back on gold. He was also, one of the original coder computer guys. Is he Satoshi Nakamoto?
That's what.
Will we
Bix
ever
thinks.
know?
Yeah.
He's a great candidate, and he like Bix always says, he's a master computer programmer. People don't
Oh,
realize
right.
that.
Mhm.
Him, and he brings up the name John Kimeny is another name, and Alan Greenspan, and I forget a few other names. But Bix is kind of that's where his whole thing comes from. Root A was like a
Right.
computer
Yes, I
program.
think so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
I remember taking basic computing
yeah.
classes in
If
high school.
then
If then
do
uh-huh.
this, go to line 17.
And then it would
And then
make.
on line 17, it says go to line 45. If then.
But we would do these computer and then you would do this thing, and you would finally do this, and it would go, and would create like a picture with little X's on this
Mhm.
green black, and we were like,
XOXOXO.
I wasn't that into like when I was probably in probably hit like high school, computers were kind of started to be in everyone's home.
no, I begged my parents in middle school because war
Would you get
games
a Commodore
came out.
VIC 20 or something?
No,
Or
I
64?
said I wanted a go-kart. Of course, I love cars. So I
No.
wanted a go-kart.
No, she didn't. She wanted her own apartment.
Well, I wanted a go-kart.
one
I love
job.
independence and fast cars and computers. So
That
I
makes
wanted
sense.
a go-kart.
I wanted a go-kart too as a kid. I was obsessed with go-karts.
Yes, or I wanted
Oh.
a computer, and I wanted to name my computer like you named a baby doll. Like I had all these names for my computer, and I couldn't wait until Christmas. And then nothing happened because we were broke.
My go-kart story, I was obsessed with go-karts, and I was always short, and you had to be a certain height to ride them at the places I would go to.
Oh, I
And,
didn't let that stop me.
the one year
Just
I
like
remembered
1.5 to 6
I
foot.
had it all figured out. I was just about tall enough. If I walked a certain way, and I wore a hat, I would be like over the thing. And they raised it from 52 to 56 inches.
Oh,
And I had to
no.
keep riding those kitty carts.
Bastards. All of a sudden, Johnny's like, I don't care if I'm in Jersey. I'm wearing cowboy boots with lifts.
And I was such a good driver by the time I started driving, because I used to I would take my parents' car once in a while when they would go out.
You can't ride the go-kart. If you had been able to drive a go-kart, you would have gotten that out of your system. But no. Then I wrecked the neighbor's go-kart into a swing, and then the mom came out and she put a telephone book behind me. And she's like, honey, you're too short. And I was like, oh, thank you. And after that, I figured it out. So
my buddy had a go-kart. He lived more up in the woods. And I took it out one day and I kept driving. And this was before cell phones. And I kind of got lost and I kept going and going. The thing ran out of gas. And I had to go knock on a random house's door, tell them, hi, I'm on a go-kart. Just ran out of gas. Can I use your phone? And lady let me use
In
her
Jersey.
phone. And I called, and my friend's dad came to pick me up. And he was like, Johnny Moore, what an idiot. Where are you going? He's like, this thing is gas. He's like, you didn't think we'll run out of, he's like, you're joyriding like
That's where children, especially boys, do not have that thing, consequences in their brain that kicks in that says, there's a consequence.
If then.
The
is.
if then is broken. Yeah. They should have taken basic in high school.
Good. I think I was a good talker, and I was able to talk the homeowner into letting me use their phone. And
That's
nowadays, I would have just whipped out my cell phone and geolocated where I was and sent them a screenshot.
Dialed up AAA. You've been doing good.
Back in the day, I had to work for it. I had to go pick a house and knock on the door and pray that they were.
That's our. I had to walk uphill in snow both ways. Those are our stories of our generation. It had no GPS.
Selling candy and selling stuff for schools. Like my parents, like, yeah, go around the neighborhood, go sell it, go knock on doors.
Yeah. Now they're like, don't do that. Somebody might be a child molester, and it's very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which they were back then too. It just wasn't as probably like talked about and or out.
Probably wasn't as rampant. Because
probably more rampant now with more of the internet.
There wasn't the porn. You couldn't dial porn on your television like you can.
Yes,
but there was community that held people accountable too.
And smaller communities.
Communities. Main Street keeps people safe.
Always.
Children safe because of community. Yes. Then there's accountability. Well, somebody's stuff gets stolen. Like my daughter is marrying this adorable, wonderful man that I love so much, Matthew. I love you. And he's talking about, he's from this little tiny town in North Oklahoma. And he's like, oh yeah, my mom doesn't even lock the doors. She's a single woman. Her husband passed. She doesn't even lock the doors.
She probably should
at
her house. I mean,
I'm like, well, I'm sure she will.
The gas is going up.
My wife's
her. She's probably going to.
Well, she doesn't. Yeah, nobody. Anyway, sorry.
Yes,
we'll keep them safe. But the point is, like in town, they were talking about, like, yeah, if somebody steals somebody's something, everybody's like, hey, you seen my trailer around somewhere? And they're like, yeah, I saw Bobby dragging your trailer to the feed sale or whatever, the cow sale the other day, because there's accountability in community. My brother-in-law is from Finland, and it's a very small community. And because of that, there's a lot of accountability.
Yeah, sure.
And so they have higher standards.
Yeah,
because community does that, because you don't get to go hide. You don't get to go be a keyboard warrior and bully someone because everybody knows your name in town.
Well, Mandy, when they visited, she was amazed at how like pristine, clean everything was. Parks, public transportation. Well, that small community thing, it's like nobody would like throw a gum wrapper down on the sidewalk because, somebody's mother's going to see you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You don't want to be seen. You don't want to be the one that did that,
Right. So think of how beautiful, like we've grown. America has grown so fast, and there's been great things about it. And I think you bring that up with social media. Like we all met our magical internet friends that are our tribe, and we love so deeply, and that we, have this great community that comes on and participates in the chat, and we learn from each other. And there's been so much growth from that, but there's also the dark side. And I think now we kind of have this opportunity to say, like, we get to pick in the future, but I think we're missing that local community. And I think that's kind of where we're going. I see that as where we're going back to. And if that means partially that the payment method goes local for a little while too, then that may be part of that.
Crypto's community money. And that's like what you guys are all doing, driving around, traveling around the country, doing these meetups. You're training local people how to use cryptocurrency. You're educating them. So we win. We, the people, win through education. We're not going to win because if we don't educate them, the companies and the banks, they're going to educate them. Trust me, they're working on their plan. So if we don't get in line, system could go down. And if we don't have we haven't educated enough people, they can just pop back up and say, well, here's our new thing we have for everybody. And you know what? I bet you if you go out and talk to enough people, they'll still be voodooed enough by these people. And all right, we'll go along with it. I guess that's the new thing they're doing. So we have to really education's key. It's just key to keep I feel like we could do that as the crypto community because we could do it from the local level the right way. Like we meet in these pubs and these breweries and these local places, and people that even the customers in there are like, wow, these people seem really nice, really friendly, really open. That's not what I thought about Bitcoin. I thought it was like these tech nerds and this and that. So it's we're having a big impact by people seeing these meetups too, because it makes Bitcoin and crypto a lot more approachable now by the general public.
Yeah, and that's where that like toxic maxi thing is so counterproductive to what we're trying to do. And so I understand there's a lot of people that are like, no, I'm Bitcoin maxi. I believe Bitcoin, is the daddy, the king, all that. Yeah, but when you tip the scale to the toxic part where you're attacking people, like people can't hear you in that environment.
Right. It's not good for anybody.
When you're only speaking hate, no one wants to be a part of that party.
No.
So you have to talk about what you love.
Yes.
And people are drawn to that. What do you love? Well, why do you love that? Tell me about that. Show me the value of what is there. And that's where the education is. And that's the opportunity to bring the masses to it, So those
with that said, Lisa, I'd love to eat some dinner in a few minutes. I'm getting kind of hungry.
We love you. He's like,
I love some dinner.
Love, right. I'm like, love, I'm getting kind of hungry. I love some dinner. I'm smelling. All right. This was an awesome show.
Yeah.
Nana, Westwood, Lisa, awesome to all. Have a nice little powwow with everybody.
You guys join my Patreon if you're interested in a happy hour. We might do an after.
Might do an after.
So we've got Litecoin Leader and Divvy Daddy headed to the house for a little pizza and salad dinner tonight. So we might jump on and do a little extra something. But
and then come check us out in Jersey soon.
Coming soon.
Yeah, I will confirm the date. I'll confirm it and then make it official, right?
Yes, I'm super excited about that. Yeah.
Perfect.
All right, guys. Take care. Thanks,
awesome
Johnny.
Show. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Johnny.